Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Bedtime Stories with the Prophet. And I'm continuing on in Take All of Me by Lisa Stevens. And I've read chapter 10, which is really interesting. This is after they finally did it, and it's amazing for her. It was great detail. I loved it. It was awesome. So now this has happened. Drew and Cara spent the whole weekend at her place together. And he had to leave that Sunday morning to handle some things at work. Not at work or his business or whatever. And so she had her girlfriends over to, spill the tea. You know what I'm saying? And she has a nice little crew there, and they were all happy for her. And, it's like, well, tell us details, bitch. I'm so happy that you finally got you some. I'm so happy you finally got it. You and Drew finally did the do. So, and she's just glowing, beaming from ear to ear because it was everything she dreamt that it was, and everything and more, and she goes into not too much detail, but just enough to tell you, ooh, it was good. And that's the way you should be, ladies. You can let your girls, your besties know, but you don't give them the details. I never understood why people I don't care how close you are, you ain't gonna know details. Oh, he did this and he did that. Come on, sisters. You just say, I'm happy. Okay, I'm satisfied. It happened, and it was everything I ever thought it would be. Okay? That's all you need to tell your girlfriends, and that's all Cara told her girlfriends. So they, she is a really amazing host, by the way. Because she had caviar and chips and bread corners. I ain't heard of that, but I know what it is. I can imagine it in my head because she does an amazing job. Lisa does, and her descriptions puts you right there in the room. I loved it. So she's going on kikiing with her girlfriends for a couple of hours, just beaming, and they deserve it because they were there for her. They're her girls. They're her real girls. And so after they had their little meeting and kikiing and smiling and cheesing and this and blah blah blah, they go on home to their families, and she gets a call from Drew as expected. It's like, hey, I'm gonna see you. I want to see you tonight. You know what I'm saying? Of course, at this point, y'all are instant relationship, you would think, right? Because in chapter 9, he introduced her to Jack, the stable owner that had the horses that they, went to ride. He introduced her as a girlfriend, which makes it it's a conundrum. It caused a bit of a conundrum, but she kind of understood it. But, she was catching feelings for Drew when they were online. And that's very easy, especially someone you talk to every day, even though this is research. She caught feelings. She caught feelings. And he checked her and let her know, like, no, this is not all of that. But, so now she's keeping that in her mind so that she doesn't want to fall too quickly, but girl, Girl, Cara is, or Cara, I'm going to say Cara, because even though I see her as me, okay, because we have such similar, it's uncanny. Except for this, I'm not a writer, and yet, I'm not a writer, or you don't need to know that. This ain't bedtime confessions with the prophet. This is bedtime stories. But anyway, so he called us like, be ready, get ready, be comfortable, be casual, don't be getting dressed to the hilts. I'm gonna come and get you later. Drew picks her up promptly at 6. She's outside. Cara, love the fact that you was ready. She was outside waiting. Her door was locked, everything. She was just waiting for him to pull up, and he pulled up promptly at 6. So, of course, she gets in the car. They head on about their way. She smells that he's already got food, and it smells like Asian food. So he probably picked up some Chinese food. Whatever. And so they go on the drive. They drive away, and he doesn't tell her where she's going. It's all a surprise to her. He's very secretive, by the way. And I am surprised that she doesn't demand more. But I'm gonna get to that part where it's a bit of a slight confusion, but she's going with the flow. They drive and they come to this building. He parks. They take the elevator all the way to the top. And she's like, "Where are you taking me, Drew? Where are we going?" He said he stayed real silent, and he just smiling like, "Wait, you'll like where you're going." And so they get upstairs to the top of the building. I'm thinking maybe he had a romantic dinner, but it would kind of be defeating the purpose because they're not a couple. And I need y'all to remember this: they're not a couple. He's a dom, he's her dom, and she's his sub. Okay. Or he's the dominant and she's the submissive. This is not a romantic relationship. Maybe I should turn my head so you can see my side eye. Okay. So they get to the top floor, come out to this beautiful place, marble floors, beautiful furniture. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a huge, big, beautiful place. And he says, "Welcome to my home, Cara." And it's like, oh, okay, this is nice. I like it. It's real nice. Read the book for the description, okay? And the funny thing about this, because I talked to the author of this book just quickly, because before I read it, so me and the author, of course, first of all, we have been best friends for years, but I didn't realize how much of our styles are similar, because when she wrote here, I literally stopped, because I have times where I manifest in my mind what I want my house to look like. And a lot of what she described his condo as being. A lot of the furniture and the decorations and home decor, I had already seen it in my mind. It's almost like I manifested or what I was going to read. So it's weird, it's crazy, but I am the prophet. Anyway, beautiful. She's astounded. He goes and gets a bottle of a specific one. I would read you that part, but it was all schmog ball blah blah. It's German or something, or it sounds like it was a German Riesling, but a very fine bottle of Riesling. And you know, they sit down on the couch, they're talking, they kiss, and can't keep their hands off each other. And you know, you hungry, of course you're hungry, pulls out the food, they eat in silence. I love it. What I love is they're not sitting up there talking and conversating, because it's not a relationship. They are eating in silence. They just, that's what you do. When food is, especially when food is good, why are you talking to me? Okay? Talk to me when my plate is cleared. Thank you. But at any rate, so they eat and they go to, he pours us some more wine. They go sit on the couch and he's like, okay, cool. You know, and they're just talking and kissing again. Like school kids. You know that feeling when you first fall in love, when y'all first meet each other, you just can't keep your hands off of each other. And the real, more of relationships that grow, you talk and you just, and so he says, wait right here. And so he goes back to his room or wherever, and she finishes her glass of wine until he comes back, and he shows her and brings her back to his bathroom, where he has candles lit up all around the bathroom. And it brought tears to her eyes because he remembered what she liked from when they were speaking online. So even though he's a dom, I find that he does things to please her. So guys, that means that just because you're a dom don't mean you just have to lord over and be an asshole. You know what I'm saying? He does things to make her smile, that show that he hears her and he listens to her and he makes her comfortable. You know, it really, be honest with you, that type of thing is what make a woman fall in love with you, men. And ladies, same thing. When you remember that small little thing, and I've heard that many a times with men, from men, it's like, it wasn't that she was wifey material and I knew it from the start. It was something that she did very small. Like make him a sandwich, or wash his clothes. I mean, nothing major. It's just her being who she was and showing that she cares. You know, is what we'll say, now that's wife material. You know what I'm saying? It's always a small thing. But at any rate, let's go on. So, of course, they go through this whole thing. You know, it's a dom. It's a very BDSM scene for a minute. You know, when I say BDSM, it's more of the SM of it, you know. And just read the book for that part, because I'm not going to tell you, because it gets a little graphic. Hey, one day I have goals of possibly being monetized to do these type of things, you know. So I'm not going to go into it, and I want to encourage you to buy the book on Amazon. It's available there, okay? So of course that happens, and they eventually do have sex, but there's a paragraph, because it's like he listens, and it makes it seem like he cares. Or is he making her comfortable enough to give herself completely to him? Because you remember, he's being real silent about his real life. She knows very little about this man. And she's trusting this man with her life. So, and that would be the difference between a dom and a sub in this case. So far from, because I'm not in the life of BDSM. I haven't done, this is about as much as I know about BDSM. But it seems imbalanced. And I believe in a relationship that is going to a long-term situation, it has to be a trust on both ends. Okay? But at this point, the only one really putting their lives in another person's hands is Cara. She's putting her whole life in his hands. She trusts him with her life. It's imbalanced. And we're going to see that she realizes it, but she doesn't act on it. Let's listen to this paragraph. She knew how he made her feel. She had once read a blog online. The average crush lasts for about a month. If it lasts longer than that, then you're already in love. This was way more than lust that Cara was feeling for Drew. Perhaps it was strong lust, but she wasn't sure. She had never felt this way before for anyone. There was a need there, a thirst that needed to be quenched. One that only Drew could satisfy. That hunger for him overrode any and all warning bells that would go off in her head, and there were plenty. Had it been any other man, Cara would not have given his unruly behavior the time of day. The demeaning names he called her that once made her wince now made her wet between her legs. And pants like a bitch in heat. And while she didn't mind the playful slap on the butt or hair pulling during sex, the choking, the spankings, and occasional slaps to her face and breasts were all new to her. But she was beyond wanting. She needed his strength, his dominance, his care, his touch. They all caused goosebumps and blushing and shortness of breath, the depression when he wasn't around, her anxiety if he seemed upset with her, and when he spoke her name, OMG. That was way more than just lust. But they weren't in love. At least he wasn't. Best way to define it was that they cared for each other and had a rare and solid connection, as simple as that. Apparently her thoughts were written all over her face, considering his reaction. Okay. So here you see her thinking out loud, what did I get myself into? She's confused. But he told her, I controlled your mind online. And he warned her that once they stepped over the threshold of physical having sex, that he would be completely his. He shortly says after that, because he recognized the look on her face, she looked concerned because she's thinking about all this stuff. She don't know if she's in love with him. She knows it's more than just lust. She's needing him. She's addicted. to Drew. And it was clear back when he cut her off online. She went into a downspin, sorry, I can talk, a downspin from him cutting her off online. She never met this man a day in her life. She was on a downspin for a month. She was already hooked. She was in too deep then. But she kept going. She wanted to research the BDSM lifestyle so she could write a book. And she's like, what have I really got in my own? Am I in love? She don't know if she's in love or what. She's addicted to him at this point. And all the candles and the food and the dancing and the horse riding and the sweet, sweet nothings. Was it care for her? Or to draw her in? So that she would give herself all to him. And that is the part, now I'm not saying there's nothing wrong, but it's kind of like showing a possible downside to this lifestyle if you don't recognize it, you don't understand it, and you're researching. I almost felt like with the stuff that he was doing for Cara that maybe he was falling for her. Possible. Until I got to the next few paragraphs that I'm not reading to you, where he noticed the look on her face. He asked her what was wrong, and she kind of explained it to him to a point. She didn't go into that she's confused about her feelings or whatever, but she expressed that she was it's getting scary for her because she trusts him with her life. She said, I trust you with my life. And his response as a dom, he said, I told you you're mine. All of you. You belong to me. But she's in too deep. She can't back out and say, pineapples. No, Pause. Wait a minute. He spoiled her to a point where no guy can come in and do that. She's in too deep. And after that, of course, he jodied her, went downtown and wrecked shop, and then did it again. You know what I'm saying? To solidify, I'm the man. I'm your dom, and I own you. I own you. Those words were very triggering to me. Outside looking in, but also understanding that this is the life. That's what it is. And as the dom who recognized that he's been in this lifestyle, so he knows what it is. So he knows that she's new to it. So he has to keep her, remind her what this is. And basically, okay, they had sex a couple of times, and it comes to the end of chapter 10. Great detail. So what do I feel? Like I said, some things are triggering to me still. But it's still good reading. I'm interested to see, because I was speaking to a friend who is not in the BDSM, but they're a part of the kink community, which it encompasses BDSM a little bit. And that friend of mine was saying that that's how relationships end up happening. Like, people are actually staying together and getting married because someone was trying to research it, and they get someone who is good about showing them, and then before you know it, they become a couple that is in this lifestyle, like a couple, like a real couple. And I'm gonna see what will happen with Cara. Will her and Drew actually become a couple? Or do she have to go to rehab? They try to make her go to rehab. I said, no, no, no. You know what I'm saying? They try to make her go to rehab. Is she going to have to go to rehab once he cuts her off physically? Because remember, he's in the States, but he is on a visa. Okay. He lives in Australia. What's going to happen when he goes home? She's in deep. She's addicted. What happens then? We will see as we continue reading Take All of Me by Lisa Stevens. You all have a wonderful evening and a great weekend. Thank you. Bye.